Welcome back, everyone, to the Sideline Report. I'm Marvin Jackson, along with Lou Holder, Donna Hopkins, and Jason Campbell, former Washington quarterback. Jason, they have a big game coming up against the Giants. And then there's a bye. And then after that, they come back home against the Giants. What do you think about the situation going up there to play the Giants and then coming back and you have a bye? And then, of course, you come home and play the Giants again. How would you feel as a player in that situation?
Yeah, that was weird when I saw the schedule that they actually play a team back-to-back like that. I know they get the week in between, but it's still the same team that you'll be playing. And, it's very hard to beat a team twice in that short amount of time. But at the same time, though, I feel like this game is huge because if Washington can go to New York and get this one, I definitely believe they can get the one at home because it puts more pressure on the Giants. So if you can travel up to New York and play a physical football game, because the Giants are going to try to make it a physical football game. They don't trust Daniel Jones to throw the football as much. They're going to try to run everything through Saquon Barkley and try to control the game from that standpoint with play action pass. So defensively, this is where the front seven going to have to show up. It's going to be because what they did against Atlanta, let's be honest, they got away with one against Atlanta. The ball was on the 2-yard line, and Atlanta chose to throw a pass like Seattle did in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. If you just run the football, I guarantee you, if 3 times, you're probably going to get in there at least one of those times, especially the way that they was running the ball down the field. So the Giants are looking at that and saying, okay, Atlanta ran the football on them very well. So what you think they're going to do? They're going to come in there and they're going to try to run the football. So we've got to be ready to man up defensively. Like I said, Deron Payne made a great play to get his hand up. If you can't get that with the rush, you're always taught to put your hand up. And, he played that exactly right, got his hand up, and Fuller with the interception sealed the deal. But could you imagine if they just choose to run the ball and then you walk out of that game, you lose to Atlanta after somebody just basically ran the ball and just man on man and said, hey, we're going to beat you running the football. Like what that would have done to your morale when you get ready to go play against another team that loves to run the football. So it was great that Washington got the win because now I think they can go on the road with confidence and not have doubt and go up there and they can steal this game. It really propels them to be in a fight for that playoff spot.
Hey, Jason, I want to hop in right here because when you look at the Giants and you look at Atlanta, I think they were able to run the ball on this defense a little bit more because they were worried about the quarterback as far as Mariota. So Daniel Jones is not him. He's not going to take off and you got to worry about him. But I think that the defense has been strong this year as far as stopping the run. And they know that if they can shut that down, they're going to make Daniel Jones be able to beat them. But look how this all works out. And like you said, it's kind of crazy that they have these back-to-back games against the Giants when they could have, I don't know what the NFL was thinking because they could have put Cleveland the next week and then put the Giants after that. But when you look at the division and you look at the divisional race and with the Washington finishing up 2 games against the Giants and they've got Cleveland, then they've got the 49ers, and then they finish up with Dallas, 3 divisional games. So the Giants right now are 2-1 in the division. Dallas is 3-1. The Giants is 0-2 and Washington is 1-2. These 2 games are so important for this team to get these 2 wins because when you look on down the line, these divisional games may be the telltale of this team moving on to the playoffs.
The NFC East is still, as advertised, it's still a great, great division, and I like the way that it's set up. I do remember Jason in that run. I don't know if it was back-to-back, but they did have Dallas and the Giants. I think that it was very heavy in the rest of the whole month. The whole end of that month was all divisional games. So you do have the 49ers and Cleveland sprinkled in there, but there's 3, like Donna said, there's 3 divisional games that are out there. And it's theirs for the take, and they're getting stronger and stronger. And I think one thing that I have seen that we all have now seen, the defense is turning the ball over. The Kendall Fuller in one game, the Deron Payne in another. This defense is turning the ball over, which is great for the offense. That the defense is actually not only turning the ball over with the Kendall Fuller, they're scoring points off the turnovers. So if that could continue to happen, in a very, very cold and wet and soggy and whatever the NFC East has, that's going to be the recipe for getting some wins.
I'm going to tell you why I don't like the bye real quick, Marvin, at this standpoint, because you want to have that bye most of the time middle of the season, because if you catch fire late in the season, you don't want anything to disrupt your chemistry. And if you look at the teams of the past, the Giants, when they went to these 2 Super Bowl runs, it's not like they would have this great regular season. They were like 9-7 when they had these Super Bowl runs. But what happened is they caught fire at the right time, and it took them all the way through the playoffs. It wasn't a bye. Their bye came early. Now you get this bye. Say you go and you beat the Giants. This happened to us in 2008. We got hot and we was rolling, and then all of a sudden we had to bye. And after the bye, we just couldn't get it back going. And so it's the same situation, except for this time, hopefully these guys can get this win and go up, 8-5 and have 4 games left after the bye.
Hey, Jason, a quick question about the Giants. They started out hot. I mean, they were winning games by a few points. But lately, the last 3 weeks or so, you see some hiccups on that side. What are you seeing overall from the Giants right now? Because it seems like they're slipping a little bit. And because Washington is winning those games now that they lost in the early part of the season. But now facing the Giants up there, Washington goes in as the favors of this team. But what do you see in this Giants team right now coming into this game with Washington?
The one thing about it, when they got the new coach, everyone knew what he did in Buffalo. But you come to New York, no one knew what he's going to do with Daniel Jones or how he's going to utilize Saquon Barkley. And I think the fact that people didn't understand the first couple of weeks, you catch people off guard a little bit offensively, because they're watching the Buffalo film and seeing all the things he was doing with Josh Allen and Diggs and those guys. But then you're not understanding what he's going to do when he comes to the Giants. And he's adjusted his game plan, and he kind of, he was a passing team in Buffalo, and he's been more of a run team in New York. And I think people didn't understand that the first couple of weeks, and they was beating teams. And I think he was, once you win one, you get more confidence, and it just continues to gain. But then now I think teams are catching on to their tendencies and understanding, what they like to do on first, second downs, and understand, okay, Daniel Jones is not Josh Allen. So how do we stop Saquon Barkley? They're going to do what Dallas did to him last week. Make sure they just loaded up the box and said, Daniel Jones, can you beat us? And he missed, a wide open 4th down pass to the side that could have propelled them in that game. So they're putting the ball in Daniel Jones' hands, and that's how it's going to be for the rest of the season.
I noticed also that Daniel Jones has 79 rushes, and he has 479 yards and 4 touchdowns. So there's also a possibility he may run the ball more than what we've seen before. And possibly that was probably why they were winning early too, because people didn't realize he was going to run as much, because I don't think he's running as much now as the season has progressed. But he picked up a lot of rushing yardage and had 4 running touchdowns. So,
hey, Marvin, who you going to put your money on, Daniel Jones or Taylor Heineke?
Well,
right now, who you put your money on?
I would always put my money on Taylor Heineke over Daniel Jones. So, I mean, that was even before this winning streak. So, I mean, I put Taylor Heineke right behind, that's something. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it, but the other quarterbacks in the NFC East, I mean, there's some pretty good quarterbacks now in the NFC East when you talk about Philly and Dallas. Jason, let's ask Jason what he thinks about the Dallas and Philadelphia.
I think the best thing about both of those teams is they didn't try to make their quarterback tailored to a system. They built a system for their quarterbacks, and they work to their strengths. Look at Jalen Hurts. He looks so much more comfortable because they allow him to do the things he used to do when he was in college. And utilizing his legs gets him involved in the game. And then when he throw the ball, he throw it with more confidence because everything just feeds off each other. And you look at Dak, what they was doing with the other guy when he got in there, he was quarterback, and everybody was saying, "Oh, Dak's gonna get his job back or not get his job back." I'm like, man, are y'all kidding me? I was just like, look, the defense turned it up a little bit more because they knew they had another quarterback in there, and now Dak's back in there, and they become balanced again. And so, and they're tailoring things to the strength. They're not letting him throw the ball as much as he used to. They're actually throwing the ball just enough to keep people honest, but allowing Dak to be Dak.
And Odell Beckham may end up in Dallas or with the Giants, which is going to make both of those teams better.
Yeah, that would be interesting if we
I hope
end
he
up
doesn't
playing the Giants the second
one.
time. It could be Odell Beckham there. What do you think about this race, this playoff race? This team is right now, they'll be going to the playoffs if the season ended right now. Lou?
I mean, still a lot of football to be played. I really, I mean, anything can happen. I mean, they're on a win streak, but the way that football is, it's all cyclical. I mean, you got to finish off strong.
All right. And Donna, what do you think?
Hey, Marvin, I can't look ahead.
And what do you think about Taylor Heineke and those other quarterbacks?
Hey, I can't look ahead. It's one game at a time, because if you look ahead, the Giants come in and sneak in and get this one. So I think this is the key thing about this team is they're concentrating on one game at a time.
That's the good thing. And they talk about that every week. But as Jason said, that bye could come in there and stop a good momentum.
No.
Lou, let's talk about what's going on in the soccer world right now. You were a soccer guy.
It's big. I mean, it's big for all of us in this country, man. This team did not make the World Cup 4 years ago. It was an embarrassment for a country that this size not to be in the World Cup. These kids are very young. They're supposed to be ready for the World Cup in 2026 when it's here. So for them to get out of their group, Christian Pulisic with a goal in the game against Iran that sums up sports as a whole. Sometimes you got to lay out. It sums up life. Sometimes you got to lay out to get the victory. So I'm so happy that they got in there. They play the Netherlands on Saturday. They're playing with house money now, right? So just them getting out of the group was a big, huge step for U.S. soccer. And it's something that we all can be proud of. I mean, whether you like soccer or not, I got calls. I've seen people all over social media that don't even know anything about soccer, but it's our country, and they got out of the group, and now they're on to the knockout stage, and it's something we all can be proud of.
USA. I just have to finish with that one.
USA for sure. And hey, I'm going to start yelling out you guys' names: Donna Hopkins, Lou Holder, and Jason Campbell. And of course, Olivia Garvey was just awesome in that first segment. So we want to thank her as well. Thanks, guys. For everyone watching, we are glad that you tuned in, and tune in next week after the Giants game. For the Sideline Report, I'm Marvin Jackson. Take care, everybody.